morning, everybody. It's your boy D Mac. Let's talk. Okay, so it's day two. We have the Taliban who's about to completely take over Afghanistan right now. So Joe Biden is going to send in 3,000 soldiers to safely extract our people from the embassy. So is other countries supposedly. Now, there's been a lot of criticism to Joe Biden because he made the statement. He said that it's not likely that the Taliban will be able to take over Afghanistan after we've pulled out because we've trained up the Afghan forces over there and they will be able to secure these areas. Well, I'll tell you something about those forces in Afghanistan that we trained up. In 2012, one of the last missions that I did in the military was training up 34 SFAT teams, which are SFAT team is a security force advisory and assistance team. This is a team made up of 12 men with specific skill sets. Say, for instance, you'll have a S4, you'll have a S1, you'll have a medic, you'll have all of the components you need to make up a complete team. And these teams go into these areas and they train. They take soldiers from that area, they train them up in their skill set and equip them with what they need to be able to fight and secure these areas. And we walk through a lot of the maneuvers and things like this with these guys, and just to make sure that they got it down so that they'll be able to protect themselves. But what happened was this. Over the years of us being there, it's been over 20 years, they become codependent on, our help. They become codependent on our abilities and our reputation and the type of artillery that we brought with us. And they kind of relaxed because a lot of the times, major issue that we would have is, these guys working against us. We're here to train them up and to get them prepared to fight against the Taliban. But it seems like a lot of those guys were fighting against us at every turn. Say, for instance, we get a mortar attack. When we have mortars lobbed at us, whenever we go out to the site, we call it the POO site, the point of origin site, where the mortars were lobbed from, and to try to get the evidence and gather up and see what all happened. They've taken the evidence and kicked it over in the river. Not the ones who lobbed the mortars at us. I'm talking about the security force, the one who's supposed to be the ones we're training up, the guys that we're supposed to be helping. They're helping the Taliban. So they're taking the evidence, they're kicking it over in the river and stuff like this. These were occurrences that happened every day when I was still in. When I deployed to Iraq in 2010, 2011, this was taking place. And when I was training up these SFAT teams for Afghanistan in 2012, coming out of Camp Shelby in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, these were the issues that were brought to the table before they even left to go to Afghanistan in 2012. We already knew that these forces, there were some people who were agents. They were in the Afghan army, but they were agents working for the Taliban to get information of what we were doing and how we were training these guys up, and they would take that information back to the Taliban. So now we have the Taliban who's infiltrating their police force or their security forces in Afghanistan. And soon as we pulled out, They just took over because these guys were already planted inside of the Afghan forces. Um, it was evident when we were there. There's something that we discussed in our meetings. It was a major concern before we finished that that mission, and now we're seeing the end results of what that codependency that we built over there is going to bring. Yeah, we went over there to train them up, but they were always sitting back just chilling. I remember watching them go through their training drills. They were acting like, just not really putting any effort into it. It was just kind of haphazard and lackadaisical. Okay, so what you put into something is what you're going to get out of it. And now we see, because they weren't taking it serious when we were over there trying to train them up and trying to prepare them for this moment, now they're not ready at all. And we're seeing how the country is just being so easily overrun. And now they're saying, well, it's been 20 years. 20 years of us teaching them what to do. 20 years of us going back and forth with them pushing against us every step of the way, trying to prepare them for this moment. This is the reason why we put together those security forces and advisory teams. I personally was in charge of making sure that 34 medics were properly trained and had all of their credentials intact for these SFAT teams in 2012. And so we went over there, we taught them everything. When I say everything, we covered all the aspects that our military can cover for the Afghan forces. So now that we're looking at it, we've pulled out of Afghanistan completely, going back to get our people from the embassy, because America's always trying to leave a remnant in people's country, and the Taliban ain't going for it. And those security forces that we trained up, where are they? What are they doing? It bewilders me. How did the Taliban get such a stronghold in this country while we were training up all of these security forces and giving them all of the weapons that they would need to successfully fight against the Taliban? We successfully fought against the Taliban. So if we show you exactly what we did to defeat and beat back the Taliban, why is it that they could not take up and do the same thing? What stopped them from going out and just taking over the reins of what we were doing and keeping the Taliban at bay? Maybe they don't want the Taliban to be at bay. Who's in charge in Afghanistan? Who is the leadership there? Because apparently it's the Taliban. It's not anybody else. So what do we do as America? Do we just back off and leave the Taliban to take over the country and undo 20 years of fighting and training and all of this? Because now Taliban take over, that's all they got to do is get those security forces that we trained up and learn every maneuver and every tactic that we taught them, and apply those same tactics against us in battle. Use those same weapons against us in battle. These are things that we have to think about, because the fall of Afghanistan is going to mean a whole lot for the United States. This is going to be a breeding ground for terrorists. This is going to be their training site. It's going to be their headquarters, their hub. It's going to be Afghanistan. And they're going to train up as many terrorists as they can, and they're going to send them all throughout the world to do all types of things. we have a obligation here now. I said last night that we should have listened and pulled all the way out of Cobb. We should have pulled all the way out a long time ago. But now I'm starting to see if we pull out, it's still going to be detrimental to us because they've become codependent on our forces, and we've allowed that. So now what do we do? Do we go over there and we retrain these guys? Do we go over there and fight their battle for them? Maybe we should use the mentoring tip that I taught the other day, the I do, we do, you do. Because it seems like we didn't use that system when we went over there and we trained the last ones up. And we didn't make sure that they had it. But then too, you can train somebody all you want to, and when it comes down to the actual fight in the moment, if they don't have the heart, they don't have the heart. And you can't force a person to have heart. So, my hat's off to these soldiers that are deploying back over there to handle this situation with delicacy. Because if we do actually have to go into combat, we don't know who's on our side as far as those security forces. We don't know who's on our side and who's on the Taliban side. That's just the bottom line of it. So, like I said, man, my hat goes off to the soldiers that are headed over there. This is something that we as a country is going to have to monitor because it can come back to bite us in the butt. The Taliban's not going to stop at just taking over Afghanistan. You think they're going to stop there? No, they have an ultimate goal. And the destruction of the United States is part of that ultimate goal. So this is going to be part of our security as well. We have to secure ourselves in this situation. I'm going to go ahead and leave that alone. And I'm going to keep my eyes on this story so that we all can have an understanding of what soldiers, what we go through, what we've been through, and what we do for this country that people don't really get to see. SFAT teams, security force, advisory and assistance team. We had them over there for the longest. I know that I sent a group in 2012, and there had already been a group over there beforehand. So, what more can we do? Leave them people alone. Come home, and whatever they do over there, that's on them. Just worry about building up our defenses and our system in case somebody tries to come here and attack us on our land. That's my suggestion. This is your boy D-Mac. You know what I say. Sticks and stones can break your bones, but the word can always heal you. I'm out.